maybe you clicked on this video because you can relate to getting over this fear. Maybe there is something that you have always wanted to do, but you have either felt like you do not have the tools, the knowledge, the capability, the ability to share and do this thing that you want to do. Maybe it's singing, maybe you've always wanted to post online, maybe you've always wanted to share your voice, whether that be singing, whether that be posting YouTube videos, whatever that is, you have felt incapable or unworthy, or like, what do I have to share? What can I say that hasn't already been said? And you feel like there's no value in what you have to say, and that comes from you not having value in yourself. That comes from deeply rooted, deeply integrated feelings of unworthiness. And how you get over this fear of being seen, how you get over this fear, how you let go of it, how you truly just let go, is first of all by beginning to do the research, by beginning to understand, why do I feel this way? What is causing me to have such a lack of trust in myself? And to begin this journey of self-trust and to really be okay being vulnerable and letting go and speaking your truth, it begins by understanding where it stems from. And so I have been on a journey to understand myself better. And on this journey of understanding myself and how I work as a human and why I act and react and do the things I do, I have learned so much about conditioning and how we're conditioned throughout our whole entire lives. Your guardians, your caregivers, those are, some of the first people that condition you, and they were conditioned by their parents and by society. And we all are just conditioned to live a certain way, and nobody is unconditioned. Where you live, specifically, the state you live in and the city you live in, the people that are surrounding you, all of this has an effect on who you grow to be and how you see, life, your perspective. It is all conditioned by what's around you. And so I am learning to be curious. Something that I have learned is to be curious. First of all, why do I feel like what I have to say is unimportant? And learning about childhood trauma and how that affects you as a person, and how it will continue affecting you until you learn about your triggers, how your trauma shaped you as a child and how it's shaped you into the person you are now. And then learning to trust yourself and trust your intuition, and questioning every thought that you have. Is this coming from me? Is this really what I believe? Or is this something I was taught? Is this something I was conditioned to believe? And deciding in the moment, like, okay, I recognize, forgot what specifically I was saying, but just truly questioning every thought that comes up and saying, is this from me, or is this my parents' voice? Is this my teacher's voice? Is this what I was conditioned to believe? my previous video, if you haven't seen it, I decided to share a poem that I wrote, just truly letting go of all of this harbored emotions just that had been weighing me down, you know, and also in this journey of letting go of being seen, I, you know, started seeing a therapist this past year again. I got a new therapist, and me and my husband, we live on one salary. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and we have 2 young kids. But at the time, I was like, how am I gonna afford therapy? There's no way to do this. Like, we have no money for this, essentially. But I knew that all of these heavy feelings that I was feeling, I couldn't just deal with it on my own. I needed help. And so I literally looked up on Google. I looked up affordable therapy options, and Open Path is the therapy service that I'm using and that I've been using this past year. And through that service, I met my therapist. I have had such a breakthrough emotionally, letting go of stuff, letting go of all of this pain and this shame and baggage weighing me down. And I finally started letting it go through therapy and through meditation and yoga, you know, starting to really focus on moving my body, all these different things, these layers of getting to the root of my fear of being seen and heard. And part of it was from a childhood wound of not being seen and heard, or when I did try to get seen and heard, being too much, feeling like I was too much. And so it takes a lot to be able to uncover, you know, where that comes from, and to take off that armor and allow yourself to show those wounds and talk about those wounds and deep dive into that with somebody else. And so I really am truly thankful for my therapist. I literally love my therapist. I've had a couple of really good therapists, but she has just really helped me exponentially. I truly believe that she is a beacon of light that has just helped me on this path, on this journey of loving myself and getting my light back. With letting go of this fear of being seen, I felt that I should share this poem, you know, because I felt like there was people who could possibly relate, you know. I felt like, I mean, I have read so many books this year that I related to. I read Alison Stoner's book, what is it called? Semi-Well-Adjusted Despite Literally Everything, I think is what it's called. I listened to it on Audible, and it's so crazy how you can live such different lives from people, but you can relate so much. And I just really related to a lot of this stuff that she went through growing up. Obviously not everything, she was a child star, but I could relate to a lot. And same thing with Jeanette McCurdy's book. I read her book a couple years ago, and then I reread it this year. And yeah, just reading about these really mother wound type of books, and these people just being so completely honest and just unapologetic, and just really letting you know what they went through and how much it hurt them. And I just felt like I could really relate to their books, and they inspired me. And so yeah, I wrote this poem, and writing it, for one, was kind of oh man, but it felt so cathartic to get it out. And I've spoken to my therapist about it, I've spoken to my husband, I've spoken to people I trust about these feelings already. But there's just something so freeing about just getting it all out on paper and then feeling the need to share and wanting to share, because again, letting go of this fear of being seen. And so I did. I released it to the world, and I decided that, like, I'm not gonna let the fear of, you know, how people will take it, or I wasn't gonna let anything hold me back, because that's the thing is you have to let go. You have to just know that, you know, some people are going to take it one way, and then the people that it resonates with, like, you know, they may be the people that have also been through that. They may be the people who relate to that. They see themselves in your work. And that's just being an artist, and that's just sharing, that's deciding to let go. And so this is continuing that process of letting go of the fear of being seen, letting go of the fear of being heard, of sharing your voice. And so I just want to say, if you feel called to do something, if you feel like you want to post on the internet, if you want to sing online, but you worry about people saying you're not a professional, like getting made fun of, people saying you suck, whatever, there's gonna be that energy, you know, but don't let that hold you back. You know, people will project onto you however they want, and life is too short to not live authentically and to not use your voice. You know, we were given voices for a reason, and if you're feeling called to use yours, then do that. Let go of this fear you may have. And if you're having trouble letting go of that fear, I ask you to be curious about where that fear started. Look inward, really deeply, like look at your childhood, look at how you were raised, look at it through a different lens, you know. I'm gonna give you some resources if you are interested, if you're still watching at this point, but I read this book. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. And this book essentially just talks about how our body literally stores trauma. And there's so many different types of trauma, you know. There's emotional trauma. There's neglect is considered a form of trauma. There's physical abuse, and spanking is considered physical abuse. And your body does store that physical reaction of when somebody, you know, is gonna hit you, like that tension. Your body stores that. That fear that comes from being hit, your body stores that. And like I said, emotional abuse, like verbal abuse. You know, your thoughts become your beliefs. And if you're hearing constantly, you're lazy, you're selfish, you know, you need to be A, B, and C like your brother or sister, you need to do whatever you were told, whatever you were conditioned to believe, you know, whatever you heard over and over repetitively, that becomes your thoughts, and your thoughts become your beliefs. I listened to it on Audible, and the way it's written, it's very theoretical, and it's a lot of it's written like a scholarly book, so it might be a little bit difficult, like just reading it firsthand if you're not used to reading books like this. But I highly recommend it. I highly recommend this book. I'm gonna link a couple other books down below that I listened to and that I read. But that's one of them, The Origins of You. That's another really great book that just, again, touches on how we're conditioned and how our childhood really conditions the way we are as adults. And yeah, unlearning those conditions. So yeah, This is my message. And I believe it, like, I'm hoping that this resonated. I'm hoping that the people that stuck around, this resonated with you, and you are feeling curious, or maybe, you know, you're gonna post something that you've been wanting to share, or you're gonna start writing, you know. Maybe you've always wanted to write a book and you've had all these ideas and you just keep, you know, telling yourself, oh, I can't do this, like, I don't write well enough, the storyline would be A, B, and C, like, it's not well thought out enough, it's predictable, it's repetitive, other people have done it, whatever. Like, maybe you're gonna start writing, you know, maybe you're gonna say, you know what, I don't care if this is predictable, I don't care if this is repetitive, or if somebody else has done something similar, because technically nobody has an original thought. There's so many people that have lived, there's 8 billion people alive right now, there's so many people that have lived before us, and none of us really truly have an original thought. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't share your voice, that you shouldn't share your thoughts. And so, yeah, if you feel called to do something, do it. Life is too short. Whatever you're curious about, that curiosity comes from you desiring to know more, or wanting more. And so allow yourself to be curious about the world. Allow yourself to be a lifelong learner. Allow yourself to be inspired to let go of this fear. Because, again, life is too short, and your voice is worth sharing. Somebody wants to hear what you have to say. It's going to resonate with someone, whatever the message is that you feel you're being called to share, or whatever it is that you're feeling called to do. There's a reason that you are having that calling. There's a reason that you're feeling that. And so trust that voice. Don't trust the one that tells you can't do this. Don't trust the one, because do you really think you can't do this? Do you really think that you wouldn't have this desire to do this? I feel like this message is going everywhere, but when you have a desire to do something, I want you to look at it through, like, the lens of your inner child, and not the one that has been conditioned, not the one, what were you like when you were 4 years old, 5 years old? What were you interested in? Did you love singing? Did you love dancing? Did you love playing outside and like playing make-believe, you know? Like, what truly inspired you? Did you like playing sports? Like, what were your interests, and what piqued your creativity and your imagination, and what just made you feel so alive and light? And figure that out and use it, you know? Go back to that. Go back to those feelings that you had when you were younger, doing whatever it was that gave you that. And don't be afraid to share it.